My name is Kiana. I'm the co-founder and CCO of Tooth. We make sustainable toothbrushes, essentially, and this is Joshua, my co-founder and CEO as well. And he is basically the brains behind the design of our toothbrush.
Very flattering, very flattering.
Yeah.
So the concept was sort of born out of a frustration with the plastic oral care market, and we were, going into stores and buying plastic toothbrushes, and at the end of their life, throwing the whole thing away, and it just didn't make any sense to us. So what we did is we created a product where, similar to a razor blade, you've got a component that you keep forever, and the bit that is disposable, we make it as eco-friendly as possible. So obviously scouring the web was sort of the first point to call, but family and friends, really, speaking to family and friends who've been with us for a little while and across the journey, and then Google, lots and lots of Google. We really liked the whole network side of things, and this is where you guys came along, and we saw the power of what your network can bring, and that's kind of where I started.
We also entered sort of a startup incubator program with WeWork Labs, and we built our startup founder network through there. And from that, do you know anyone who might be interested, etc., etc. So it's always word of mouth is a very strong technique as well to help fundraise. So we did that.
Definitely a company deck. That's like the strongest thing. And company decks take a little while because you've got to send them around. Everyone's got their own opinion on design and copy. But honestly, when you're sending company decks out, the people who are receiving them are receiving quite a few of them. So you need to make it short and snappy, 6.2 seconds to grab someone's attention. So it's really got to be quite quick. So that's definitely the first place to start.
Pitch events.
Yeah, we work with pitch events. We're really good.
Yeah, pre-lockdown days, obviously, it was in-person pitch events. So it was great because you were able to network right after you were done with your pitch, and you were able to meet face to face with your possible future investor as well, so that you can gauge a sort of relationship that you would have with them. Nowadays, obviously, a lot of it is on Zoom, but it's also a great way to connect with people because a lot of the times we all connect through LinkedIn after a call. So it's always great to again maintain this network, and again, I'd like to reiterate on the whole word of mouth process as well.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's easier or harder on any means in person or on Zoom. I would, however, say it's a lot harder to read body language on Zoom. When you're speaking to someone, you're trying to look to inflections and little elements about someone, about what you're responding question-wise and what they're giving off, because most people are pretty poker faced. Even if they really want to jump in, they don't want to jump in. They want to knock you down on valuation or something. So I would say in person is a lot easier if you can read body language. Zoom, a little bit harder. There's always technical difficulties, as we know. But I think they're both equally as hard. Small angels came on board sort of first, and then it was a sort of a knock-on effect for other individuals, not high net worth, but sort of, and they disclose they don't really want to be called angels. They're just people with a little bit of money here and there, but they don't specifically do that. And then Angel Investment Network as well, we sort of raised an element in person with smaller angels at pitch events, and then we went online and did sort of the other side of the raise through your guys' platform. Yeah. Sure. So I think it all boiled down to the simplicity of it. We're not reinventing the wheel here. We're just making something considerably better. Simplicity, really, really good visuals. Letting the potential investor really understand what's going on through a visual medium, and then pitching wise, again, short, concise. Remember, these guys are listening and hearing pitches all over the place, a lot of corporate angles. So having a bit of fun with a bit of seriousness, that's kind of hard to bring in. We did this thing where we would say, it's the last toothbrush you'd ever have, and I'd take off the head and throw it over my shoulder.
So we actually have two types of decks. So we have what we call a stripped deck and a more detailed deck. So the stripped deck is what we send out to most investors. It's the kind of the one where, you know, we make a big overview of our business, basically, just to see if we might get some interest. If somebody's really interested, then we'll send a more detailed one. So definitely, well, both decks have been changed a lot of times. We always update our deck, you know, whenever we have to send it out. We also sometimes, you know, reiterate certain subjects within the deck to fit more to, you know, the person we're sending it to as well.
Sure. So the first thing is, so we send the preliminary strip deck out. They say, yep, we are pretty keen to have another chat. At that point, we ask for specific questions that they want to hear. Those questions will give us a massive idea on what slides we need to add in or take out. You know, if they're more about community building, how are you going to have sticky customers? That's where we'll add in a couple more slides. We'll show the traction side of things, what's our churn rate, what's our lifetime value rate. We'll sort of hone in on that a bit more. If it's something else, you know, they want to hear more about finances. Sure, we'll add more detail. Maybe we'll do, you know, a longer 5-year financial forecast will really break down the gross margins and the profit and the profitability of the product side of things. So listen to what they have to say at the very beginning, question-wise, sorry, and then you can tailor it to their liking sort of a little bit further on. And when you send through the detailed deck, as we say, then it's more tailored to them. They won't know that we've done that, but we know that this is what they want to hear. It's in the 3 figures for sure. So first of all, we went on Crunchbase. We did the 7-day free trial. We exported as much data as we could from there, from angels that invested in similar businesses, similar business models. We made a huge list on Excel, which we then imported into Monday, and we just went through it systematically. Reaching out, is it a form? Have we got a cold lead? Have we got a warm lead? And it's just systematic, just going out, pushing out. It would be hundreds and hundreds of different angel investors. And we weren't we're very noticeable that, you know, we don't just want anyone to invest. They've got to be sustainably focused. They want to be able to help us build this into a £1 billion company. So those are the key criteria for us. So as much as we turned down quite a few investors, because we didn't kind of like their ethos, and we want to maintain that moving forward. We're kind of picky, and creating that pickiness created this FOMO where everyone's like, I can't get in on this round. Can you help me get in? And that's really what drove us to be able to close our rounds quite quickly.
It felt slow at the beginning. I think everybody, especially with the first ever investment round that you do, you think that you'll be like, yeah, I'll get this in the bag really quickly. Looking for investors for the whole investment round always takes longer than you think, and never give up. This is usually the times when you want to give up. It's the time that you should be pushing, and yeah, it's always much longer than you expect it to be. I guess being co-founders help a lot because we vibe off of each other. So if one's down, we're like, no, we need to push through and we need to do this. How about I send another follow-up email? You know, maybe I will get a better response or he will get a better response. So it really depends on, you know, we vibe off of each other and we keep communications open with each other. After the first the first promise, like, yes, we're interested, we want to know more, we want to have a forecast, we want to look at your numbers. And usually it's maybe like the 3rd and 4th call you might have with this particular investor. Once you start getting interest, you know, the network is quite small. And you can also start going to other people, be like, oh, by the way, we've already got interest. And we've got, you know, there is this much left in the round. Do you still want to continue, you know, our talks together? And usually sometimes that can reignite the fire from within, you know, the possible investor, and we can have another talk again. So it's quite nice.
Do your due diligence regarding your numbers and paperwork and spellings. Really make sure that's up to scratch. Also, we use a platform called Seed Legals that is incredible to get the paperwork through really quickly. You've got to be understanding that if someone's ready to invest, it's at that point in time, and there could be something within the next hour or day that could completely turn them off to the investment. So you've got to move on it quickly, get that document signed, get the money in the bank as quickly as possible. And using platforms like Seed Legals can make that happen.
Yes, we do have to pitch it differently. Sustainability is a huge part of our business. It is our business. Because we are a sustainable business. So we, this is what Joshua was saying in terms of we're very specific with who we want to almost collaborate with and partner with in terms of our investors. Our investors have to understand the whole sustainability side of it and how important it is. And in our pitch, our problem is plastic pollution. That is our problem. It is it's a systemic problem. So that's the problem we're trying to solve, and we reiterate that as much as we can throughout our whole deck.
So, to be honest, I think saying no actually sounds very backwards to raising money in the first place. Saying no a lot really helps. If you've got to be select into who you want to invest in your company, you've got to be careful with who's going to invest in the company. Do you want a headache for the rest of your life? And also, as a sustainability focused company, do the background check. If they've got other investments in ESG, great, but are they still funding fossil fuels? So really be really careful. And again, just say no. Create FOMO. Say no. Like, sorry, I can't get you in. Maybe next time. That really, really works well. Sure. So it's actually been very, very good. They're not paying us to say this, so it's a really good platform. It's really easy to use. Being able to upload the deck and being emailed out to hundreds of thousands of potential angels across the globe was fantastic. We raised a good amount through them, and yeah, it allows you to have a bit more security. Actually, when you're not pitching, and the times that you're not pitching, you can start pushing out that side of things a little bit easier. It's a great platform, and I'd recommend anyone who's trying to raise early stage capital to use it.